Wake up. Come on. Come on. Wake up. Wake up.
Peace, peace, family. My brother Side, Sister Stacy, Sister Sonia. Welcome to Black Men's Dialogue. What we want to do is we want to try to enlighten the unenlightened by having conscious discussions on certain topics which are destroying black people in America. We also want to encourage progressive black thinking. Peace, sister. Peace. We're going to have two topics this evening. We got the sisters in the house again, so we have some estrogen. Everybody's well?
Everything's good.
Okay, let's get started. Number one, we're going to speak on the role reversals in this day and age with our people. And the second topic will be the myth of Platonic relationships, especially when it comes to people being in relationships. Should they have them? Can they work? So on and so forth. All right, let's start with you. We talk about role reversals. So we got a whole lot of men that are acting, talking, and living somewhat like women, and vice versa. What do you think? What's your take on that? And where do you believe it comes from? And how do you think we can change it so that we can get back to um, women and young girls knowing, and not to sound chauvinistic, but knowing their position, in life and also in their relationships, carry themselves like ladies instead of this vast nonsense that's going on now.
Okay. So where I think it comes from, years, probably centuries of the black man being broken down, their position and their role being confiscated, the best word that I can come up with, from them in terms of being head of households and things of that nature. You have more and more women running households now, more and more women that are raising men or raising boys, I should say, because a woman can't raise necessarily a man to be a man. She can teach him to be the kind of male she would want to come to her, but not necessarily all the things that go into being a man. Raising a son myself, there's a lot of things that I know I can't teach him. Like, even something as simple as when he was young and he was learning how to be potty trained, teaching him how to pee standing up, that wasn't something I could teach him how to do. I had to pull my father in for that. And luckily for me, I had a father figure that was able to step into that role where his father at the time was not able to. But unfortunately, that's not the circumstance and situation for a lot of women out there who are raising males, especially black males. And so with that, they see a lot of what women have to do in order to survive in this world, and it's not an easy task raising children, period, but definitely raising black boys. And so with that, they learn by seeing. They learn by what's being, around them. And so when they're seeing women who are taking the lead, making sure the household is taken care of, the bills are being paid, working 2, 3 jobs to, make sure there's a roof over their head and food on their table, it's kind of hard for them not to take some of those things on for themselves because that's how they learn. They learn by watching, they learn by observing the people who are in their life. And if that's the main person that they're, exposed to, they're going to take some of those things on. Some of those traits, some of those qualities are very, very good, being hardworking and things of that nature. But unfortunately, some of those things aren't good because then they too learn their place. They lose their place, I should say, in terms of what it means to be that head of a household as a male and what type of woman to draw to you in order for you to maintain that kind of figurehead position. Um, and so in that, I question and I wonder what kind of woman ultimately my son is going to get involved with at some point. Now he's talking about what his interests, are in females, and a black woman is not at the top of his list. As much as I would want that to be the case, a black woman isn't. He's talked about Asian, Hispanic, but not a black woman, even though that's what he's surrounded by between his sister, his aunt, his nana, um, and all of his friends and things of that nature. But that's not what he's attracted to, so to speak. And so in that, I wonder what kind of woman he's going to bring home. And you know what I mean, being the fact that he's been raised in a single female household. You know what I mean? So in that, it's tough, and I don't necessarily know what is the answer. You know what I mean? It would be great to say, okay, we need brothers to step up. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, it's kind of hard. Society doesn't make it easy. Society does play a role. I'm not going to sit here and say, the white man holds the black man down. He has done it. I don't know necessarily if that's the state of affairs today, but that has been done. But it's tough because I don't know necessarily what the answer is to correct and give us that resurgence to go back to the way things used to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Profound.
So,
What's up, sis?
So, ditto to a lot of the things that you said. Um, Certainly, I do hope that your son, even though, he may not be looking towards a black woman in a sense, as long as he's with a good woman,
absolutely.
and I think that he will probably gather that strength because he saw the strength that you raised him with and the family raised. So hopefully he'll actually, because it's about people, it's about
Absolutely.
people's heart, and that's basically what that boils down to. In regards to where it, the role reversal, I absolutely agree that, over time, as the family unit has been broken apart, it has put a strain on a male and a female. And with that, in that regards, a man has lost his place in terms of being the head of the household. And, do women actually respect that in regards to society today? I think that they have lost that because I think that they have lost them believing in men. I think that they have lost the ability to actually see a man in the figure where he belongs, which is the head of the household. Society has a lot to do with that, as well as, I don't want to make excuses because sometimes it boils down to the individual as well too. So it really falls into basically where that individual is coming from, where's that person's core, and what they're made up of. And then it's a situation where, it could be stemming from being raised in a single family household. It could be also stemming from the fact that it could be a mother and a father, but the father maybe not have been as strong as he's supposed to because he did not step up to actually show that young man in order to actually become a man. Even with a woman as well, it's the same scenario. I mean, you may have young girls that's raised in a household with men and with a father, but mother may not have stepped up to actually show her what it is for her to be a woman. And it's not a situation where we're tearing anyone down. It's a situation where a man has a role to play and a woman has a role to play as well. And unfortunately, it has gotten so intertwined with so many different aspects that, in my opinion, it has caused, you know, the role reversal to happen. And with the role reversal happening, we tend to see a lot of dominant women, in the sense being, in my opinion, being a little bit too dominant because of the fact that they won't allow a man to be a man. Okay. And also, even with a male, I tend to see the males are, I don't know if it's the fact that they're so beat down to the fact that they won't step up to actually stand where they need to. But, I do see progressively that the role reversal has happened. How do we correct it? I think that it starts from what we're doing here. And I think that it starts from also, seeing a mother and a father, you know what I mean? Distinguishing between and seeing the roles that they play, because as we were growing up, it was a different world. And I know that society is totally different now. I believe that this world is totally different and everything is so acceptable. And unfortunately, they make it acceptable for an individual, a young lady, to act a certain way. They make it acceptable for a young man to act a certain way, which is, in my opinion, maybe not so acceptable. Maybe in our time, maybe not so acceptable. So how do we change this? I do believe that we change it by educating. I do believe that changing it by education and actually seeing examples thereof. So.
Yeah. Um, mm, valid points. But you know, um, one thing I hear a lot, and I know everybody has heard this too, is they say a two-parent household is better than one. I don't necessarily agree because it depends on who is in the household. So you can have, a man and a woman there, and the man could not be a positive man. You feel me? That's not going to do well for the children. You know what I mean? So I disagree with that statement. But we hear it all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
What you think about it?
I mean, I think that it's the quality of the two people that are together. You know what I mean? I think the problem is, there's a lack of communication. It used to be that, people knew what was expected, and people now don't. And so now having those conversations is imperative. It's no longer just, you wake up because you're with somebody for 4 or 5 years or 3 years, you have a couple kids together, and it's just like, well, what are we going to do now? Get married? Okay. Right? It needs to be like you're having those conversations. What is my expectation of you as a husband? You know what I mean? That's what should be in those vows, not necessarily the honor, love, cherish. Those things are important as well. Those are the foundation. However, you know what I mean? But the conversation needs to happen with, well, what is my expectation of you as my husband? What is your expectation of me as your wife? And having that conversation where those compromises can be made, right? Because there are going to be times where, you as the head of the household is going to have to work late, and the expectation is if I get home before you get home, dinner's cooked, kids' homework is done, they washed up, ready for bed. But if the situation is reversed and I have to go out of town, right? I need to know that you can hold it down just as equally as me, per se, to make sure that the kids are taken care of. You understand what I'm saying? That you can put a meal on the table and things of that nature, or you can handle it in case I come home late. But the expectations need to be aligned with each other, that we're having that conversation early on. It can't be we just go into it with this blind faith that we'll figure it out. And then when we get there, now we want to argue, fuss, and fight. You want to be on the phone with your girlfriend complaining, well, he didn't do this. Well, how was he to know that that's what you wanted if you didn't explain to him that's what you needed? You know what I mean? People aren't mind readers, and I think we go into it with this, this faith that, okay, we'll figure it out as we go along. And that's not necessarily the case anymore, because we're bombarded with all of these images of these different types of families, good, bad, or indifferent. You know what I mean? We're bombarded with the media, these images, videos, all of those things of, what these different types of families look like, and the conversations aren't happening. That, that just bare foundation, you know what I mean? Because the same way we would talk about, what we're going to name our child if we have a child together, it's the same conversation as how we're going to raise that child. Are we going to raise that child in the church? What religion are we going to practice? Is the expectation we go to church as a family? Is that you don't, and I take the children on so they have that family, whatever those things are. Homework, what type of school they're going to. Like those conversations don't happen. We put a kid in school, wherever school they land, they end up getting accepted. We take it. And that's it, not necessarily being strategic in terms of looking at the kids' personality, see how well they're going to do in a particular type of school, things like that. Like the lack of communication leads to the breakdown in so many different areas that it puts a strain on the relationship because you're no longer seeing eye to eye. You're no longer that team. It's everyone out for their individual self. And so in that, it needs to go back to the conversation. Like I agree, this is what we're doing here. More and more people need to be having those conversations. But it's the quality of the two people that are getting together. If you're coming from a broken home and you're damaged and you haven't done the work to take care of yourself, to be in that right frame of mind to procreate and to, create a family with me. And here I am, somebody who may have had a good foundation. Eventually you're gonna break me down to where I'm in that place with you.
So that's and I so ditto that because this actually brings up to the point where it just breaks down that you really have to understand and know the person that you have chosen to be with and the person that you have chosen to actually start a family with, because unfortunately there are those individuals that just their choices are because it's what's coming to them, meaning that they're actually not we're supposed to be a little bit more selective and choosing what's important to us. And I don't think I think men and women, a lot of men and women don't do that, and they don't get they don't find the time to actually get to know the individual that they're actually laying down with. You know what I mean? And when it's too late, and then when it's too late, things are not distinguished, and then you realize one day, 4, 5, 20 years from you wake up and you're like, who's this person next to me? You know what I mean? So we don't actually take the time to actually learn what's important to us. So again, I guess it goes with what you were saying before. We all have to have a role, like to know your role and to know your place, to know the individual that you want to actually start a family with, and what foundation and what that makeup is something that's extremely significant. And again, that's actually going to go in with the children. That's going to go in with the family, and everyone's going to know their role that they need to play on that regards.
Yeah, I will say this. Once again, I agree with both of y'all. Let me say this though. And we had this discussion a little earlier. Uh, if everybody, or even the majority of people, were able to uh, pick the quote unquote right person to have children with and all that,
You'd have less children today.
well, and not only that, but I mean, it just really, it's really, I don't believe it can happen because of the fact that, like you said, number one, you don't take the time. Number two, it's too perfect, and we not in a perfect world. So the world comes with balance. You know what I mean? It's good and bad, left and right, up and down. So it can't be all good where everybody just has that relate. It ain't gonna happen, man. You know what I mean? And what we see most, if you look around, motherfuckers are not picking the right person.
But that's what but it could be better though. I mean, it could be better if they
Right.
take time. See, that's the problem. You're right. I agree with that statement right there. That people are not taking the time to actually get to know the individual, and then when it's too late. But I think that it might not be perfect, but I think that it certainly can be better if we actually learn oneself first, and then realize to the fact of what we are looking for in a mate, and actually hopefully trying to find that mate to actually raise the family. So yeah, I
It
mean,
starts with family.
No, absolutely. No,
You gotta know who you are.
And then
You may know who you are and what you're looking for, and who might be compatible. These things.
But see, the majority of times, a lot of people don't think about that because we think about other things first, and then we get caught up. And then when you get caught up, then it's too late, and then you're like, "Oh my goodness, who's this person?"
Right.
You know what I mean? So, unfortunately, if we actually take the time to actually learn ourselves, and then actually realize to the fact of what our wants and needs are, that we can actually choose someone that's actually going to satisfy those wants and needs in regards to, not physical, but mental, spiritual, the whole 9 yards. And then once you actually get that and you get someone that actually compliments you, he compliments you, you compliment him, then you can say that, I want to raise a family with this person. And I think that would be better, without a doubt.
It would be.
Mhm.
The thing is, we just had this discussion with brothers a couple of days ago, and I was saying, once again, it starts within. So a lot of times when somebody say, I'm in love, I love this person, you gotta love yourself first. Most people don't do that.
No,
So
absolutely.
it's backwards. That's backwards. Then you say you know this person. But if you don't know yourself, then how can you know somebody? You understand? So all of that comes from here on out. You can't give somebody your. I hear a lot of them say, "Oh, I'm giving you my all." Well, if you don't know yourself, you don't know what you're giving.
Absolutely.
How can you give your all? You don't even know who you are and what you have to give.
Because people actually deal with more emotions. So the emotions that they're feeling at that time, we've all dealt with emotions, and then we think that we love that person. We think that we want to give this person our all. But I agree with you. I mean, you have to know yourself, so you have to give yourself some time. Unfortunately, we don't give ourselves some time. I can speak on this. We don't give ourselves enough time to get to know who we are and what's important to us. And unfortunately, we end up in a situation that it might not be beneficial. You know what I mean? So again, how do we correct this? Maybe we certainly can teach our children. We certainly can teach our grandchildren to the fact that yes, I mean, you really want to take the time. No rush to get to know yourself first. You know what I mean? Before you actually make a decision to actually make an extended family if that's where it's going. You know what I mean?
I mean, people don't date anymore. Like, it just, you know what I mean? You just wind up in a relationship one morning, you woke up, and you with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I look at, I work in a school, and I look at the kids, and it's not even, and me telling them to date is such a foreign concept. You know what I mean? Like, they have no understanding of what that looks like. And I'm like, you don't need to go with the first person that says, will you be my girlfriend? They have to earn that. You know what I mean? You don't go with the first person that's like, the first female that comes to you and is like, will you be my boyfriend? You know what I mean? You need to, really skate through the pack.
Be selective.
And really choose, like, why out of two or why out of three this one stands out to you? Why do you see yourself spending more time with this one particular person than this one over here or that one over there? They jump at the first thing smoking, but a lot of that too has to come from their low self-esteem, their, you know what I mean, or what their experience was watching their mother or their father. You know what I mean? If you're watching, again, because kids, learn by doing, they learn by observing. And so if they're watching their mother have multiple boyfriends in and out the house, this is uncle such and such, and this is my man over here. You know what I mean? Or you're watching your dad have, 5 women, and he's bringing all of these women around you, and this is aunt such and such, or he's messing with the woman across the street, and then got this one coming in the back door. You know what I mean? Their view is skewed in terms of how you build connections, how you make those relationships. We all need to be connected to other people. That is a human factor. We need those connections. But it's the quality of those connections that determine how well you're successful in life, whether it's business, whether it is, personal. And because we don't take the time to teach our kids the value of their own self-worth. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I laugh when people tell my daughter all the time, you're so pretty. Oh my God, look at that hair. You're so pretty. And my response, and I tell her response is, but I'm smart too. You know what I mean? Because I don't want people just looking at her because she's a pretty young lady. You know what I mean? She's got hair down to wherever and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a part of who you are, but that's not all that's made up about you. You know what I mean? My son, yes, he's a handsome young man, but that's not all you bring to the table. You're smart, you're funny, you're all of these other things as well. And if you don't reinforce that in your kid, they're only going to go for what's on the outside. So then they only attract what comes from the outside. They're not necessarily looking at the inside. You know what I mean? They're not thinking about the kind of person that they want to spend their time with. because the kind of person I want to spend my time with is someone who's going to bring to the table what I'm bringing to the table. They're not going to be someone who's just shiny and pretty, and then after they no longer shiny and pretty anymore, I move on to the next one. And so in that, you know what I mean, it starts with how we talk to our kids. It just can't be the shiny and pretty stuff anymore. It has to be that internal stuff, because if you're not building your child up, they're going to seek that from wherever, and they'll take whatever attention they get, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. They'll take that because it's something versus the nothing that they're being given. And so with that, then that perpetuates. But they don't date anymore. They jump on the first thing smoking, and then the next thing you know, they lay down with this person, you know, girl or boy. And yet that's a girl who's been around with a couple people at this point. Your man done hit her, all this other kind of stuff. And now you done got her pregnant. And now you're sitting there like, oh, hands up. Dang, this is the kind of person I wanted to have a kid with.
Right, exactly. And that's the superficial. I mean, that's the whole thing, the superficial part of it, and that's what a lot of people fall into. I mean, a lot of people are attracted to what's outside versus what's inside. And in order for us to actually like date, is to get to know the person on the inside versus the superficial figure that they see on the outside. Yeah, she has a nice, behind, or she has, nice breasts. He's built, and he has, he can do this, he could do that. But that's all superficial, because at the end of the day, all that stuff means absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? It's actually getting to know the person and who they are, and that's when it matters. You know what I mean? So yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, and it's funny because now that both of you mentioned that, I remember years ago somebody sent me a post, right, and it says that it's a picture of a black man, and a black woman, right, and he's telling her, he says, I don't care how good you look. He said, if that's all you got, something to that effect. If that's all you have, and you don't got nothing up here,
Absolutely.
I don't want you.
Absolutely.
And they said that to me because they know that's the way I feel about it. You know what I mean? So, most people, from what I'm gathering from what you two are saying, they're just shallow.
Right.
No, absolutely.
And they got tunnel vision. And I guess we're going to convey to everybody that watches and listens to this. There's more to it than just the outer layer, like you said.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna jump. Anybody got anything else on that topic? We're gonna jump to the next one.
Okay.
Good. The next one. Platonic relationships. People that are in relationships, do you think that it's possible for them to have that? Do you think it's right or it's not? Do you think it's moral or immoral? If you were in that situation where you were married or you had a man you were thinking about marrying or what have you, do you think it would be correct for you to have quote unquote platonic friendships, or him to have platonic friendships? Let's start with you.
I think it is possible. And I say that because it's based off of the person. I don't think it works for everyone. I think, again, it's the quality of the person that you're dealing with. I know I have male friends, and these are male friends that I've known for years, may have grown up with them, or they've come into my life, because I believe that people come into your life for a reason, season, a lifetime. I do believe that. And it's what you're looking for. I have people in my life, females and males. The quality of the people that I choose to consider friends are people who I feel compliment me in areas that are not my strong suit. So I keep people around me that have a knowledge and have experience in areas that I'm not strong in, that I want to learn from in order to get there. Everything is not, of a sexual nature. I think you can always learn and be better from the people that you choose to keep around you. But it's, again, the quality of you knowing yourself and the quality of the people that you choose to keep around you. Now, if you know this person's intention, because I think you know, whether you want to admit it or not, most of the people that come around you, whether they're interested in getting to know you and be, a helpmate in your life, or whether they want to be a person who wants to be underneath you, so to speak, in the bedroom. And so in that, that that's the type of person, and what their want is from you. That's what they're looking to gain from you, and you choose to keep them in your life. Then whatever happens, and you can't claim you didn't know. But in that, I think that it's beneficial, because, again, I'm a woman. You know what I mean? Even though I've been claimed to, think like a man sometimes, whatever that means. You know what I mean? There's definitely things about the male brain that I don't understand. And I think sometimes it is beneficial to have that kind of sounding board, to kind of just bounce things off of. And they give you a different perspective. They give you a different way of looking at things that you may not have looked at because that wasn't your experience. You know what I mean? Or now you're in that experience and you're kind of like floundering. You don't know kind of which way to go, and you're trying to figure out what path to go down. So I do think it's possible, like I said, but I think it depends on the person and what your reasons are for having those certain people around you.
Yes, I do believe it's possible. This one that's sitting next to me, it is possible.
Right, absolutely.
But again, I think that everything has its limits. And I think that's, when you are in a relationship with another person, it's a respect thing too, and you have to know your limits. You can't cross that limit. Even if somebody can say that they are comfortable with it, that doesn't mean like, I might have known him for the past 30 years. But that, it's a limit because if he has his woman and I have my man, we're friends and we can be friends and, we can carry that on. But, it has to be
interject, and I'm gonna let you go. We fam, so I don't want to hear that shit. I'm gonna just say that, and then
We
I'm gonna
are
no,
fam.
hold on, and then I'm gonna bring it, and then I'm going to bring it back
We are
from
fam,
a man's
but-
perspective because we get
But-
your
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we are. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Okay.
My bad.
But the
I had
point
to,
is,
but I-
the point is that I just believe that there are just limits that you have to set. I think that you can't, if it's a situation where, meaning when I say limits, meaning that if I depend on him more than I depend on my man, that's when it becomes a whole issue right there. You know what I mean? You can have friendship. I mean, or if he depends on me, he's telling me his inner thoughts. Now you have friends that you can talk to, and they're your friends. You know what I mean? But again, you have to have a clear set limit. That's all I'm saying. You just have to have a clear set limit. No disrespect on anyone, and we all need to actually have to take a step back. Because I'm gonna tell you this too. I've seen that when women get into relationships, right? They may have like it's sometimes people don't know boundaries, and they need to understand that there's always boundaries, and it's just a whole respect thing. And that individual, meaning that friend right there, needs to know when to step back. You know what I mean? Because there are times in which we may not have a mate in our life at one time, and then there are other times that we do. You have to respect that. You have to respect those limits. So
I mean, you interjected talking about, we family.
That's right.
Okay.
Let me tell you what. There's not going to be. See, this is where we differ as man and woman.
Okay.
Thinking processes
I know
and
what you're
things of that
thinking
nature.
because I already know.
I'm just saying. Look, we already did an episode on this, and I'm gonna tell you what. All the brothers, they agree, and I haven't really even spoken to one man in all my travels that disagrees.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
listen, because of the fact that the nature of a man, okay, is instinctive, impulsive. We're visual creatures, right? There's nobody that's going to befriend you if he don't have interest in getting with you. I'm sorry.
I don't agree with that.
You don't have to
I
because
don't.
you're not a man.
Okay.
Neither one of you got to agree with it.
Okay.
And any woman that's watching don't have to agree with it because you don't know because you're not a man. If you got a dick and balls, then you can agree and disagree. If you don't, you can't say nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
And I'm telling you right now. And then there's also the fact that you got these guys that's bi out here, so they want to play it off like they're gay. So, oh yeah, okay. Now the woman gravitates to him. He's afraid because he's not trying to get down. He's still trying. And it's plenty. I know you've heard of plenty of situations where these guys are still dealing with women too.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So that is because the true nature of a man is that. That's why that guy that thinks he's gay or passes himself off as gay or bi, he still has the nature, the essence of him.
But what's to distinguish? You say you interjected and you say fam, right? I
Mhm.
mean we're not blood related, right?
Right.
So
right.
I mean is the nature of the fact? I mean you're a male, I'm a female. So is it
This
the
is
fact
true.
that's I
This
mean
is
so
true.
what's the
This is
difference
true.
between the two?
That's a good question. How do we break this down? And I'll tell you what, it's more so on a gender difference because with the women, you're emotional, right?
True.
So, say
Very
for
true.
instance, you got a dude that you claim is your friend, right?
Why
You
you
said
gotta
that
claim
claim,
right?
that
Like,
word is
air
right.
quotes. Why I gotta be
I'm
claimed?
just saying, you know, you believe he's your friend.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of times it's disingenuous because, like I said, the guy want to touch anyway. You know what I mean? You two both said you usually know. Well, no, you most of the time you do know.
Mhm.
Unless this guy just is real good at game and he's putting up this facade like he's not. Majority of times you know that this dude is interested in more than just, you know, talking to you on the phone, how was your day type shit. You understand? And then we, I'm just saying we, not include, I mean, not personally, I'm just saying, you know, men, we as men, we wait for the opportunity to come about. You know what I'm saying? When you're vulnerable, you know what I'm saying? He goes through all the situations with you, with your man, and you done broke up with him.
But okay, so in that, that's a whole different peel, right? Like, again, if you're going to that man like he's a girlfriend and telling that man like he's your girlfriend, right? All your inner thoughts about what's going on between you and your man, right? Then I agree with you. He's waiting for a moment, an opportunity to pounce. But if you don't, again, I agree with Sonya what she said. The boundary. If you don't put him in that, right? It's a difference. Me calling you and saying, "Yo, my car broke down, and I need you to come meet me to change a tire." Do you understand what I'm saying to you? That's a difference than me calling you on the phone and saying, "Oh my God, I walked in on my man cheating on me with another female." I wouldn't call a dude.
It don't even matter.
It does matter because when you put that man in that role like that,
I understand
where
what
you're
you're saying, but
sharing your.
let me say this.
Go ahead.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
When you do call that motherfucking man and
Mhm.
you say, "Oh, my car broke down,"
Mhm.
or "Oh, I need such and such for my car," he's still thinking, "Shit, I'm gonna do this," and whatever else you need, I'm gonna do it too. It's disingenuous. I'm telling you from a man's
So
point
you're
of view.
saying
From a man's point of
no,
view.
but you're saying that you're, and I understand. I understand. You're saying from a male perspective, and you know, a woman is always a possibility. Because I've heard this before. A woman is
Absolutely, I agree
always a
with you.
possibility. A male is always. It's just always a possible situation that can occur, even though it might not be on the forefront of your
That's
mind.
right. For
It's
you,
always.
for
It's
women, no.
always.
For us, yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's how male thinks. It's
That's
always
right.
a possibility. And you know what? That might be true because at the end of the day, if you are the last man and I'm the last woman, right? The thought might come like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But again, I just think that it's just boundaries that needs to be set. Even those lifelong friends, there's boundaries that needs to be set. Do I think that it can be a platonic? Yes, I do believe that it can be platonic. But right situations, right scenario that presents itself. Could it be a situation where I just tripped one day and of course. I mean, you know what I mean? I'd be lying to you if I told you the opposite.
Right.
But again, like if you are not attracted to the person, if the person is your friend, you just not. That's not where you're at. Your mind thought is not that. You know what
The
I'm
man's
saying?
going to be attracted though to you. The woman may not be.
How is the man?
And guess what? The woman doesn't really have to be attracted to that man at
Because you're
times.
just saying a man would just hit it,
Listen,
regardless,
of
just
course,
to hit it.
listen.
See, that's
No,
what you're saying. At the end
yes,
of the day,
yeah,
that's
and
superficial.
not only that, not only that. I'm also saying that because the women are emotional, okay, there's been many instances where she might not even really look at that man in that manner. You understand? However, because she's emotional, the more she talks to him, the more she spends time with him, she can start to dig this dude.
But that's with any situation, though. I mean,
there are listen, there are plenty of women who will tell you that they ended up with a guy not necessarily because they were attracted to him, but because as they got to know him, whatever, you know what I mean, they spent a little bit more time with him,
That's what I'm
whatever.
getting at.
But hear what I'm saying to you. In that, you know what I mean, the mind, it's again, women don't necessarily go after what they're always attracted to, just like men don't
That's what I'm
always
getting
go
at.
after what they're attracted to. Sometimes it is what is available. Sometimes it is what is available to you.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And so with that, you know what I mean, I don't necessarily think, again, the quality of the person. If that person that you value, right? Because again, it's the quality of the person and the quality of the people they attract to you, to themselves. If you value that person and that person is in a relationship, do you understand what I'm saying to you? Whether I look at you like my brother or my friend, if I value you as a person and you're with someone, whether I'm with someone or not, I wouldn't even cross that boundary line with you because that's the morals and the values that I have. But again, we're talking about individuals.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? It's not that blanket. You know what I mean? Hands down, I have way more male friends than I have female friends. Real talk.
Yeah, but that's not the. We're getting off topic just a bit because of the fact that I don't give a fuck how many men you got that you think are friends. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed you the majority of them, they're looking at you in a different way than you may be looking at them.
And I will say to you, probably 5 out of 10.
You'll say 5 out of 10.
5 out of
10. Guess what?
Because at some point, they made their attention known.
Yeah,
and I may have said, you know what? And I chose.
How about the ones that didn't?
The ones that didn't. Because the ones that didn't were either in a relationship or married or whatever. It depends on, again, what their circumstance and situation was when they came into my life.
Let me ask this. You're married. Would you feel comfortable with your husband saying that he has a friend? Or a few friends for that matter, that are women, female?
It would depend on how what he determines, what those boundaries are for me.
Be a little more specific.
So in that, like if this is, you know what I mean, a female who, if he tells me he's got, 2 female friends and he happens to, like, they're watching the fights all the time and like he's constantly around them, you know what I mean, for just whatever reason, they on the phone, it's 12 o'clock in the morning type, you know what I mean, I would probably feel some sort of way.
So what if they're on the phone at 12 o'clock in the afternoon?
If they're on the phone at 12 o'clock and they're watching fights, I probably would still feel some sort of way. I probably would.
That's my
question.
But
if it is that, you know what I mean, this is someone that I've known, we grew up together, our families was cool, whatever, like, happy birthday, it's their birthday, you know what I mean, I'm going to take them out for a drink because it's their birthday, or they just passed the bar, I'm going to take, you know what I'm saying, like, those kind of special moments, and that's the only time that they really get down one-on-one, or in a group of people, you know what I mean? Or every time they come around, it's a family function. They inviting this person to our family function. You know what I mean? I probably wouldn't feel some sort of way. But if you're spending a lot of one-on-one time with that person, I might.
But what if it's not a lot of one-on-one time? However, it's still one-on-one time. You know what I'm saying? And think about this now. Mm-hmm. Think about this. Put yourself in that position. Mm-hmm. Because it's easy for you, you know what I mean, for just to say boom off the top of your head. But put yourself in that position.
I've been in that position.
Okay. And how do you feel about it?
And again, there was a situation where I wasn't cool with it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't cool with it, and I made that intention known. Like that, my expectation is not that you're taking your issues, your concerns, your problems, whatever, to that person. You're in a relationship with me. So hands down, I should be the first person you bring those things to. Right? He respected that enough to, okay, you know what? I respect that. Fell back. Mm-hmm. But then I've been in there where if I make that intention known to you, my expectation known to you, and you disregard, I'm never going to be mad at her. My issue's going to be with you. Because I told you what my expectation was. You know what I mean? Just like I've had a guy who wasn't cool with the fact that I'm friends with most of my exes. Like, to the point where, you know what I mean? I can have a housewarming and be like, yo, I'm having a housewarming, why don't you stop through? You know what I mean? Yo, I'm not cool with that. Okay, you know what? Yo, I don't mean to be, you know what I mean? I don't want to be rude and I don't want you looking at me kind of cross-eyed. Yo, the man in my life ain't kind of cool with the fact that, you know what I'm saying? Man. But again, but hear what I'm saying to you. I appreciated the fact that he was honest enough to say, yo, that's not a circumstance or situation I want to put myself in. Me and you are here. I don't really want the past. We're in the present. Right. And out of respect, because you brought that to me.
No, that's good. Don't get me wrong, but that's my point.
I would respect that. But there are a lot of men that will run around here and be like, yo, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? You can have them around there, and then they want to. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
And so again, got plenty that he's doing his thing.
And hear what I'm saying to you, right? But out of respect, I'm going to tell you. Listen, I'm almost 40 years old. I don't got time to play games. Now I may have played them games in my 20s and my 30s. Hell, I was young, didn't know no better. Do you understand what I'm saying? But now I'm almost in my 40s. Hear what I'm saying to you? I'm going to come to the table with, yo, this is who I am as a person. This is what I bring to the table. Right. Do you understand what I'm saying? You let me know what you can deal with, what you can't deal with. You understand? And I can make it, and that from there, I'm making an informed decision as to what I'm willing to change, compromise on, or it's a non-negotiable.
So, In other words, in a nutshell, for the most part, you probably wouldn't be cool with that if you was married. Probably wouldn't be cool.
No,
there
not
are
one.
some situations that you
Right.
okay.
Like again. You know what I mean? Like again, I have to look at it like our kids grew up together. We spent a lot of time together because our kids hung out together. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And so with that, I'm gonna be respectful of, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna call you at no 10 o'clock at night, like, yo, you wanna get the kids together? That's on some bullshit. You feel what I'm saying to you? That's not on some, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like, yo, boy happens to be through. Let me know where you got to live. I might text you before I call you out of respect for what you got going on, your circumstance and situation. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I still consider you a friend. You know what I mean? I still consider you like family. Like if I knew you know what I mean, I broke down and I happened to be near where you were at, you would be one of the people I may pick up the phone and call. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just as simple as that. But if you in bed with your woman, I don't expect you to get out of bed with your woman to come help me out. I could understand. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? If you said, yo, I'm unavailable right now, that doesn't count you out as my friend.
No, I just, well, listen, let me just say this. We're getting off topic because I asked a specific question. And I got your answer, and I'm going to go to you. Now, you're married. Your husband tell you that he has these friends, these female friends. And you may be a little different because I know, your mentality on certain aspects as far as polygamy and things of that nature, quote unquote, as far as 95%. So, not polygamy, but the 95%. The cat is quality cat.
So I don't think that I don't think that again like old me, new me can answer that totally different. So I guess I'll just say that yes, I believe it's possible, and would I have an issue with it just because based on my what I believe in? I mean, I guess let's just put it this way. Let's just hope that there will be no selfishness. Let's just hope that I as an individual can work on those things in terms of jealousy and selfishness. That's all I have to say.
Well, yeah, once the jealousy and selfishness sit in, you ain't gonna be good with that situation.
It is, but see, that's the thing because it's different. You can't. It's different. It's totally different. It's different because it's you, it's me knowing already, and it's a choice that I've decided to make to be in a certain situation. So it's not it cannot be. It's not the same at all.
And again, to answer your question, if you wouldn't be married just finding out that your husband has these friends, you know what I mean? You would know that in the dating stage, you're my man, you're my woman, or whatever you choose to call yourself before you contemplate marriage. So that wouldn't be something you would hopefully not be blindsided with after you said I do.
Well, yeah, you can.
I mean, you can. I said you hope. I said I
may
said you
answer that one.
No, absolutely. But I'm saying I hope that would not be a circumstance situation you would be blindsided with. Again, many people can deal with a lot of things if the person brings it to the table. If I walk into something knowingly, that is different than if you blindside me with it. It's just as simple as that. But again, a lot of that goes back to knowing yourself. If you know what you need, you know what you per se want, and you're able to articulate that. Now I'm making a conscious choice as to whether or not that works for me. And in that, if I go into it knowing that that is a need of yours, do you understand what I'm saying to you? Then again, I can't not now have an issue.
A need for what? For your husband to have another woman in his life?
If that again, that may be again, but here's what I'm saying to you. But again, if you're bringing that to the table, here's what I'm saying to you.
Right.
I watched this movie a few years ago, just happened to be on TV, Lifetime, whatever, where this woman was cheating on her husband, and she found out that her father had this whole woman on the side, and he ended up dying. He, of course, telltale, he croaked while having sex with this woman. whatever, and she was like angry at her father because he did this to her mother, right? Her and her sister were like, really just angry that, what I mean, that their dad had created this whole life, even though he was living their life with, the mom and the whole nine. And mom was finally cleaning out the room, cleaning out his closet or whatever. And they found some letter that he wrote to the mom before they got married, where he said, listen, I will never have children outside of our marriage. I will never, disrespect you in that way. However, this is a need of mine. And if you're going to marry me, right, I need you knowing that this is a need of mine to every now and again, whatever, dip off, do whatever.
Now we get off
But,
topic.
here's what
we
I'm
went
saying.
over that.
But hear what I'm saying to you. You understand what I'm saying? And the mother knew, like she chose. So they're here thinking, these children are here thinking that he did this to their mom. Their mom went in there making a conscious decision and a choice.
Okay. However, the last question was, hold on, and then we're going to get on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. The question was, if you had your husband, mm-hmm. would you be okay? And you answered it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't
the answer you were looking for.
No. This is your time. Uh-huh. Like, we already did ours. I'm gonna tell you right now. Any man that I know and the brothers that was on the panel, none of them was cool with. They just wouldn't happen.
Again, and if it, I would be suspect if it came about during the course of our marriage. However, if I knew that going into us being in a relationship, being monogamous or whatever, do you understand what I'm saying? I don't necessarily, again, if there was a respect factor there, I don't necessarily know if I would have that much of an issue with it. But if it just sprouted itself, like all of a sudden I'm hearing about, you know what I mean, Veronica, out of nowhere, Veronica just shows up. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to be suspect. I might have an issue with it.
Well, you still said you had situations where you wasn't cool with it too.
Hear what I'm saying to you. But again, it's you increasing your time with that person. If we're spending time together, because again, I'm a consistency kind of person. What you give me is what my expectation is what we've discussed. So if I tell you, listen, I don't need to spend every waking minute with you. We see each other 2-3 times out of the week, and I'm good. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we see each other 2-3 times out of the week. That's how we set up our relationship, and I'm good with that.
Well, now all of a sudden, you're going to see him more than that.
Well, of course, if he's my husband, but here's what I'm saying. Right. But hear what I'm saying. My expectation, because I would, again, during the dating process, I'm getting to know you, that person wouldn't be new to me.
We already established that can happen. And it does
I understand, but hear what I'm saying.
There you go.
But then I told you I would be suspect. If all of a sudden I'm hearing about this person in the course of us being married and this was not someone who was around before, yes, my antennas are going to go up. That now all of a sudden there's this new person you're bringing in to the table. Now I'm hearing about a new person. But if this is someone that the whole time you've been with me, this person has been around, I probably wouldn't give it a second thought. I probably wouldn't. And that's just being real.
Well, I definitely think that I definitely think it's definitely possible. I definitely think it's doable. I definitely know that it is because I have male friends right now that but it's a boundary, it's a limit thing too. People come in your life. I mean, we age, we grow, we meet different people in our lifetime or whatever. And I can be introduced as someone new. And this individual someone new, but again, is there anything? It's a platonic friendship or whatever, and I just don't see it that way. My belief is a little different when it comes to certain things, but I absolutely agree with you when you say as long as you are you know and you have a chance. You have an opportunity to choose. You're informed and you make an informed decision as to what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. But I absolutely do believe that a male and a female can be friends. I do believe that. Yeah.
All right. Well, yes. Profound. Big difference. You see the other app, you already know. Men and women. This is a difference, though. I'm gonna give one example, real quick. One name, first and last name. What's his name? Jack Tripper. Three's Company. We all remember?
Yes.
Now, you recall that they had to lie to Mr. Roper and say that he was gay in order for him to live with these two women.
Mhm.
Why? Because men know we on a different level than you live. And when he knew there's no way that he's gonna be able to live with them two women, and it's platonic. It's bullshit. That's why he was like, nah, he can't stay here. Until they came up with this fucking lie and this facade. Oh, he can't. All right, cool.
That was on the outside, but he actually did live with them, and nothing
Yeah,
happened between them.
he still was trying to get with both of them though.
I mean, yes. Well,
So,
to a
I mean,
certain
that's
point,
my
though.
point.
No, to a certain. Okay,
Come on,
so
man.
to a certain point, but like it doesn't like it just depends upon the situation because everything is not that he's living with them. That's all. That's a different story. Like if you living on top of something.
I'm talking about the essence
If you
of
living on let me just tell you this too right here, right?
Go
If you living with somebody and you seeing someone, you around somebody, you know, day in, day out, it can wear on you a little bit faster versus you just like having like a friendship with someone.
Right.
You have to limit it. That's what I'm saying. You got if I see you all the time and it's like every day and we're day in, day out and I mean, yeah, or I'm seeing you maybe once a month or 3 times a month. I mean, it's a difference. You're limiting yourself. I mean, you know.
female perspective. Yes.
Love
it.
Such
Gotta
a
love
man.
it.
Anyway,
I asked y'all told no problem.
Absolutely.
That's what we here for. That's what we doing it for.
Right.